cleared the tower. Every 4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Testing. Check one. Hello? Is anybody in here? It's a little echoey. There we go. All right. Testing 1, 2. Testing. There we go. I'm on the internet. Hello. How's it going? It is Wednesday. Hello everybody, how's it going? I expect you brought your cowboy hat for the lasso lesson. You know what? Oh, sorry if that's loud. Sorry. Hopefully that's not. Yeah, it was off. Okay. All right. Yeah, my alarm was going off on the computer. Oh, you guys weren't hearing the music either at the beginning, or maybe you were. I don't know. But no cowboy hats in my house. I have these hats. I've got a nice big fisherman hat when I'm in the garden, you know, helping my wife plant something. No cowboy hat, sorry. So, welcome everybody. It is Wednesday, which means this channel does a coloring stream, usually of some kind. Most of the time, unless I'm not coloring. Most of the time we're coloring. All right, let's get that out of the way. I can see the chat. How's everybody doing? Today, I've had like 75 million people ask me to do something with the lasso more. Like, why don't you use the lasso like you used to in your old videos? We need more lasso stuff. Show us the lasso stuff. All right, so lasso. Yeah, I get comments and emails like at least once or twice a month. Like, I missed your old coloring with the lasso back when it was cool. Like, okay, sorry. Anyway, that's what we're working toward today. It's too hot in here. Sorry. I just got back from the gym. I'm back at the gym now that I feel like my body is working enough to lift things and that I'm load bearing. But I literally like I'm still winded from the gym. Like I quit, ran home, jumped in the shower, got here, and I still can't breathe. Really good cardio. Yeah, my stamina is fantastic. Breathing hard like half an hour after I left the workout. All right. But anyway, this is Magik from the X-Men, drawn by the great and powerful Rebekah Isaacs. She is one of my favorite artists in the world to work on. If not, we're not supposed to have favorites, I don't think. She's my favorite. So I'm looking up some color reference of this character because I kind of know what she looks like, but not really. She wears dark gray black leather, let's say everywhere. Handy. Blonde hair, glowy sword. Lightning hands. I think that about covers it. Yeah. So, anyway. Good morning, Jason. How's it going? Welcome to the silver tier. People will show up at your house with balloons and stuff later. So I'm just going to start this. I wanted to also start this from scratch because I've had people complain. They're like, hey, you always jump in and I don't know how to flatten what's going on. So we're going to start this from zero. There are no flats on this today. And so we'll talk about that stuff if we need to. This is not the base. These are the inks. I'm going to relabel that. I'm going to click this button, which puts it on a transparent layer. If you don't have that button, it's an edit. Convert brightness to opacity. Or you can follow the 14-step Photoshop process if you have that. Or like 12-step Procreate process. They did that. Every digital art app needs that button, by the way. If you're listening, which none of them are, obviously. Anyway. I did my annual, maybe semi-annual, biannual, what's the word? I did my annual, like, retweet my complaints about Procreate selection tools yesterday, and they responded again, please go to our forums and tell us, because nobody knows about a magic wand. And I'm like, go to your forum, search for magic wand. I've tried, we've all tried, I'm not alone. Anyway. So we're going to put, I'm just going to put white under this. Do I want to put, I'm not going to put white under this right now because it's too bright. I'm going to put gray under. And did I hit it at 50? No, 48. This is a little game I play. I try to hit 50 on the value. Let's just start. I'm just yakking away. This is going to be a nice chill stream, guys. I need to relax a little bit. You guys probably need to relax a little bit today. And so that's what we're going to do. I'm just going to... well, do I want to... Let's see. That's weird. Why is that not changing? Oh, there it goes. Okay. And sometimes, if you're wondering, why do you sometimes do point to point? Why do you sometimes draw? Like, what's the difference? I don't know. I just like to vary things up. With, and it depends on what I'm doing. Like if it's if it seems like it's pretty straightforward like this, then sometimes like point to point feels good, and then sometimes I will stop and draw for a little bit. It just depends on what's going on. There's really no rhyme or reason or right way or wrong way. Let's see, what else are you gonna ask? You're gonna ask, why aren't I using Clip Studio's fancy like thing reference that lets me just flat things because it's awesome and so cool? And that stuff's nice when the line art is like really, 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 really clean. And when it's not, I'll fix that in a minute. When it's not, then it doesn't work hardly at all. And so, and what I mean by that is like the you know, like the flatting trickery. You know, you set the inks as a reference, and then it's supposed to feel to the line and all that. Some people like that stuff, and it works for them, and I'm really happy for them, because I just don't. I end up fixing issues more than flatting, I feel like, and so. Do I want to flat all that lightning? No, I don't. I'm not going to. I'm just going to get these edges of the sword, and then we're just going to paint the rest of this stuff. I don't really see a need in separating all of that out right now. I want to get to the fun stuff. You know? I miss Rebekah. Hey, I miss Rebekah. I want Rebekah to draw all of my books forever. that would be perfectly acceptable for me. Because I could just, you can turn your brain off when you're working on her work because it's so solid. You can just, it's like you can sculpt them, you know? Which means when I start sculpting light or rendering, it's effortless because I don't have to fudge anything. I don't have to wonder, well, that should, you know, it all just looks great. And so, that is why I love Rebekah. Who drew this. If you just joined us, by the way, welcome. Hey Chris, how's it going? Welcome. I feel the same way about some artists. Your goal is to work with Mark Laszlo on a book. Hey, that's awesome. Have goals. Like, I've still got goals, guys, I haven't drawn with, and it's been 10 years. So you know, I'm still shooting, you know, still shooting for that. Who you're gonna ask? Humberto Ramos is number one. Joe Mad will never happen. Joe draws 3 things a decade now, so I don't know if he's gonna choose me for one of them. He's using somebody at his game company, I think, now to color, which I think is cool. I'm glad he's doing something cool he likes. Who else? Basically everybody from the 90s, or not 90s, but well, yeah, the 90s. Jim Lee, probably a tough one these days. He's sort of a CEO now or something, I think. I don't think he's calling either. So I think I may have missed my window. You know, it's like, crap. Maybe next time. It's already noon in Brazil. Good afternoon. How's it going? How's it going? Welcome, everybody. Where am I? I'm sort of, okay. Like, I got lost, like, on autopilot. It also depends on the angle of the lines, I found out. Like, some lines are just easier to draw with your hand position, you know? That's also why I'll sometimes draw and sometimes do point to point. I don't really care what's under the black, so I'm not, you know, I'm not worried about that. And I am hold down Alt or Option to remove from a selection. Hold down Shift to add to a selection if you don't know how to do that. I told somebody that the other day and they were like, how are you changing the selection? I thought you have to start over every time. Like, I did that for like 3 weeks in 2001. And then I realized, wait a minute. What are these plus and minus signs here doing? All right. Is that everybody? Nope. Missed a spot. Is that everything? Those things are just no, they're not just black. They've got a little thingamajig there. Right there. Is that everything? Yeah. Great. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Thanks for all the members that are here, by the way. I see a bunch of y'all today. Thank you, thank you. And thank you to Mr. Woods for half of you guys' memberships. Sorry. No, thank you. Hey, Marta, how's it going? All right, so I'm going to fill this. So I'm just going to fill this with a color. It doesn't really matter at this point. I don't really know what the exact color is going to be yet, and I don't care. Oh, those are see-through. I see that now. Bear with me a moment. That's that. I just realized you could see her hair behind that, so that's not a thing. So once we have, and actually what I'm going to do for the sake of easy flatting, I'm going to select the outline and copy it to a new layer and use the lock transparent pixels so I don't go outside the lines. And that's one less selection I have to worry about now, because now I cannot go outside the lines on this layer. And so using that in conjunction with the lasso, you can get this done pretty quickly. So the key when you're flatting, if you want to be fast about it, because everybody does, is to start very broad like this, and then just make everything smaller and smaller and smaller, and break it into smaller and smaller pieces. That way you never end up with any of the color underneath, the color underneath coming through. And you also never have to, hit the same line twice if you do this the right way, which is how I do it. That sounded very sure of himself, but no, I do think this is the right way to flap. Whoops. And I'm gonna go ahead and just anything that is skin will hit that. Whoops. And I don't actually think this is going to take very long. Flatting is not fun for me necessarily, but I don't really think that this is going to be a problem. Your videos have helped me improve my skills so much. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I've gotten a lot of messages like that lately, and I don't know. I think people can sense that I'm not, my channel needed help or something, and they're trying to make me feel better. But no, thank you. Thank you. I can't take a compliment. No, I can't. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. That is the fuel that still has me here for now. But yeah, I'm gonna give you the YouTube a big update here before too long, and give you guys kind of a state of the union. I've got some clarity about what's coming soon, but not quite ready to talk about all that yet. Whoops. Questions, comments, concerns? How's everybody doing? Everybody all right? And let's see what else she has. So everything around her hair has been separated except for this edge. So, and my tablet is doing strange. It's moving right now. I need to. Hold on. I got a little Allen wrench for that thing somewhere, but I don't know where it is right now. I need to tighten my situation, my Ergotron thingamajig. But see, like, all of this stuff is all, like, the hair outline is already separated throughout this whole section. So it makes it really easy to not have to worry about all those other edges because I've already got the edges. Like, you know, take advantage of the edges you're creating, you know, as you're going, and it means a lot less work to your flatting time. Because I see people flatting, like teaching people how to do this on other channels, and I see them just keep tracing the same stuff over and over because they don't realize the tools will help you. So I'm like, yeah, you really should never have to trace the same two edges or the edge of two colors. You really shouldn't have to do that ever. That hair just keeps on going. All right, let's see. the shortcut for the luminosity, like this hue saturation thing, the shortcut for that is whatever you set it to. You can go to the what the hell is it called? The shortcuts preferences, and just set it to whatever. Whoops. I basically set up my workflow so that I have to leave the canvas as little as possible. You don't see me clicking layers very much. You don't see me switching around. Like even when I'm coloring, like I set it up to where I don't have to do a bunch of time off the canvas. And that is part of the reason why I'm relatively quick at this, if I may say so. Control U sounds about right. Here's another pro tip for you. I don't know why people use keyboard shortcuts on the other side of the keyboard. I really don't. Put all your shortcuts on your left hand and make sure your left hand doesn't have to move. I've always thought it was very silly that it's like, well, hit control, you know, freaking whatever, P to do something. And it's like, why? Like all it does is slow you down to have to move your hand or look at it or something. Put it all in your left hand, change everything into something that works for you. You know what I mean? Yeah, she's technically like 4 base colors, I think. So this is awesome. Let's see. Default, yeah, I think the Control U is like the Photoshop default. A lot of clip shortcuts are the same as PS. I find there are only so many free keys left on that side of the keyboard. Well, that's the thing is like, are you using the shortcuts that are mapped there? Because you know you can change those. Like, I mean, I know I'm speaking to anybody newer than you probably, but but like even if it's like, oh well, you know, brush is this. Well, you can set anything to anything, and so you know, my brush, my pen, my wand, my lasso, like my whatever, like everything is on the home row basically, so I never have to go anywhere. And some people actually got used to using default shortcuts a long time ago, and you know, I'm sorry. Like Jason. All right, how are we doing? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm gonna separate anything that I'm gonna be rendering separately. So even though, quote unquote, these shoulder pads are also black, like they're gonna have a different texture, they're gonna look a little different. You know, they don't have the shininess that the rest of her costume does if you look at how it's rendered, which that's telling us, that's an indication that that's a different material. So like you see these shadows on her, the leather of her chest, on her up here, on her arms, down this arm, but you don't see any of those specific, you know, spot black shadows in this part. So that's just an indication, if you weren't aware, that this is not the same material as this, and you should not treat it the same way if you're rendering realistically-ish, let's say. Excuse me. Let's do, does she have, I'm looking at her costume again. I think she, is that ribbing a different color? Is that also, nope, that's a, yeah, she just wears a lot of black. Works for me. I'm gonna change, just flip out the belt buckle and her sword, and I think we'll be ready to start doing some highlights and stuff. Fun stuff. All right, and I'm gonna go ahead and change the sword, separate it out while we're here. And her powers are sometimes orange and sometimes blue and sometimes yellow and sometimes purple. Does anybody know if she just is whatever I feel like? Does she have like I thought it was blue. I thought she had, but I don't know what's going on. Like, it's been years since I read a book with magic in it. Somebody tell me what color this should be. Where are we at? Oh, here we are. I think I'm here now. Am I here? Am I here? Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. I think I'm in the green now. I think it's working. All right. Better? All right. Yeah, I just turned off the stream briefly and turned it back on. That's all I know to do. Sorry about this lag. Blue seems to be the default. Okay. Yeah, good. So there's like a million ways. Well, I haven't actually separated her. Did I separate her from the background? Yeah, I did. So let's take a look at this, see how we want to color it. I'm just gonna put this on a new layer and set this as flats. If I can type FLAT, there we go. And this is just the outline. And actually, let me delete that so I can just select the character by clicking the layer, which is handy. And this is the new base. And this, my flats layer, is now going to be set as the reference layer, which means that when I hit this selection for referred layers on the auto select magic wand tool, even if I'm on a layer above, it will still select from the flats as if I was on the flats layer, which is really, really handy. So we have, I'm trying to look at the lighting here. So you see how on her costume we're gonna analyze this here. So most of the light is actually hitting the bottom side. Okay, this is a clue. This is a clue that you need to be thinking of light from below, not above. And so what I'm thinking is maybe we do all the highlights before we even change the base colors. I'm actually interested to see what that would look like. It could be really kind of moody looking, I think. I don't know. Let's just see what happens. I'm gonna select this. Let me see if I can handle this being whoops, wrong layer. Being white for the duration of this stream. I guess so. And I'm just gonna start kind of getting my base colors in the ballpark of where they're gonna be. Oh, and also, don't ever do like I just did and make this perfectly gray, because then you can't change the saturation of it. So just you know, you can add the slightest bit of saturation to your gray, and that way whenever you you can grab like the hair and then saturate it. If it's perfectly gray, you can't saturate it. It won't let you. So anyway, let's see. Blonde hair with blue light. I'm trying to think of like a shadow color for that's going to be. We're just gonna have a lot of blue in this, I think. Start about there. The skin tone, actually, I think I kind of like gray, but we'll add a little bit of warmth to it, I think. Because skin tones tend to gray out around cool lights, because skin is warm. It's you know, it's orange and yellow and browns and reds, and it's all warm. And so when you shine a blue light on something across the color wheel, they sort of neutralize. Yeah, I'm probably not gonna change that too much. And I'm thinking that she wears, you know, she wears this dark black leather, but it's gonna have, you know, again, it's gonna look blue around all this blue light. So I'm not using, you know, I'm not using gray here. I'm also going to go ahead while I'm thinking about it. Control Y will pull up this box. If you set it to CMYK US sheet fed coded V2, you will get a pretty good CMYK preview. It's not perfect. It's not as good as Photoshop's. It's in the ballpark, and it's okay. There's my ringing endorsement for that. Do I want, I don't think, yeah, I don't want warm at all. Not at all. How about that? Leaning toward warm, but not quite. Which means it's purple. And this is not quite there either. Do I want to go for realism or crazy awesome yellow hair? Yeah. That's what I was thinking too. Plus it creates a, you know, a massive warm area at the top, which is different from everything else. And there's really nothing else on here, is there? The seat belt, the belt buckle, my brain is not working. The belt buckle feels a little warm because it's gray. And so I'm going to add a little saturation back to that to make it look blue. And I think I like my base colors. I think I like them. Let's see. How's the chat doing? Wow, that's better now. I don't know which step that was. Sorry. I often show blue, but yeah, but I've seen it as yellow. Oh, okay, talking about the energy. Hello, after extensive research, you couldn't find the furry commission that I took a long time ago. No, you will not. You won't find it. And you forgot to color the part of her waist above the short. Thank you, sir. Those are the kind of mistakes I don't mind people calling out. If you get in here and you're like, actually, the blues should be, then I will block you. I don't need commentary on the process. But yeah, if I do something dumb, let me know. So, lasso-y stuff. We're going to do this on a... I'm thinking. I'm gonna do it. Let me try normal. Let's see what normal looks like. Maybe hard light. Let's just go hard light. Let's make this easy on us. So I'm gonna start. I'm actually gonna start with her suit, I think, because it is the most clearly defined shadows. So it'll kind of get me into how this is working out, and we'll go from there. So I'm gonna get all of this. You know what? I need this separated from her arms, so I'm not splashing color all over that. Is there anywhere else I need to do that? Maybe that leg from the other leg. So yeah, I'm gonna cut this right down the middle. There we go. And there we go. I'm gonna make this leg a different color on the flats layer, where it doesn't really mean anything, because that's not coming through. All the base colors are here. And so now I can just do that, and I've got just her. Well, I've got that. And so I'm going to start with a really soft, kind of broad light to get us going, slightly in that direction. And then same thing on her arms. Again, just the bottom. Right now, I want you to think in terms of big shapes if you're trying to follow along my logic here. And these big shapes in this case, these big shapes right now, I'm thinking of are this cylinder right here. That is sort of, I guess technically that's the back side of it, you know. So again, just big, simple, basic, dumb shapes. Like this is the best way to start. Break everything down into big shapes, because this, come on, Kurt, come on, app. Here's another cylinder. Here's another cylinder here's another cylinder, so it's cylinders everywhere. All I'm thinking right now is cylinders. Like the lights at the bottom, I'm gonna color it on the bottom. Real complex stuff like that. And same, back up. Oh, remember the other day when I told y'all that my computer was going nuts and like doing stuff on my other monitor and things were happening and all this, the touch setting was on. So my palm and things were just clicking all over the place. I'm like, no wonder my computer seemed to be haunted. But anyway, I've turned that off. Again, just kind of soft. Not worrying too much about details yet. Same thing on this leg. This light's going to wrap around like all over the place, but it'll be really bright on this leg because the sword is right there next to it. And a little light over there. A little light down here. Over there. Fix this. And the flats. Or the base. Wait, that didn't do what I wanted it to do. Just blend that out. Make a mistake, just blend it out. And then same thing here on this leg. We're still gonna have some light here, so same color, and again, like kind of lightly, just very lightly, very Bob Ross. Very Bob Ross right through here. Oh, it just turned into Matthew McConaughey. Sorry. What else? I sort of up there a little bit, sort of over there a little bit. Very complex, guys. Everybody got this? You're all experts? And this side's facing that way. So we're getting there. So now we've got she's starting to feel a little bit more three-dimensional. And so now I am going to follow what is here in the inks for this part pretty closely. So I've got my selection. Again, I can use a soft airbrush, I can use a texture brush, you can use whatever kind of brush you want. I'm going to use like a washy texture brush that I have that I like. And again, think in terms of basic shapes, like very, very basic shapes, because, you know, we have a couple of spheres here that are stuck to a cylinder. If you think about it that way, it becomes much easier to deal with. Excuse me. I found the vid with the shortcut I was looking for, and the gym is my thing, sir. Oh, yeah, man, I feel really good to be back in the gym, and I feel like my body is functioning again. Really, it's been the last couple days. Like I said, I'm gonna make a video about it soon, because the last couple days, man, have been just insane for me. I feel like I'm realizing, kind of in hindsight, as my body is sort of unwinding out some very old issues, literally. My voice has changed. I don't know if you guys realize that, but like, if you can probably hear it, it's carrying now. And like my rib cage expanded. It feels like it's kind of insane just how good I feel right now. It is not fair. These things don't happen to 43-year-olds. They just don't. So I feel like I've got a second shot here to like do my body right this time. I was never in bad shape before, but I knew better. I knew better than to eat how I was eating and to work out as little as I was working out. That's why I'm like, I do not want to look back at 50 going, this whole time you knew what you should have been doing. And so with this, it's you guys that have followed my journey with this, I know this sounds nuts, but yeah, it's been really crazy. It's been awesome. So and I thought about making a little challenge today for this, of like not brushing anything unless there was a selection, just so like to really, you know, make this an interesting tutorial. Maybe I might try that. But right now I'm sticking with this same like slightly brighter color and just sort of going everywhere with it. What am I trying to say? It should, what am I trying to say? I guess if to keep from brushing anything in, like to make this a pure like cut and grad thing, but I'm already doing brushing. I'm doing a little brushing inside, but anyway. I like setting up weird, stupid little challenges for myself sometimes when I'm working, just to make it interesting. But anyway, but I finally have an ending to my book too. Like I that's the thing I've been struggling with for the longest time. This my own graphic novel that I want to do, that I've been talking about for like multiple years at this point, that you guys don't believe I'm actually going to do, probably. But yeah, like I was like, oh, okay, I now know what I need. I know what needs to happen. So yeah, I'm in a good mood. I don't know. This is strange for me. I don't know all this like confidence and validation, and I don't know, man. I don't know what this is. Excuse me. Did you see the trailer for the Bob Ross tribute movie Paint? I don't think that's a tribute movie. It seems really goofy and not at all. It seems more like they're making fun of him than actually, you know. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I looked at it. I was like, Oh, they're doing a biopic about. Oh no, they're not. It seems really silly to me. So I don't know. I'm not like a huge Owen Wilson guy, but a little bit brighter out here on the edges where her hand is, and then kind of do a similar. Just trying to make some interesting shapes here that might look like her, you know, her wrinkles and whatnot of her suit. Again, a little bit brighter out toward the edge, then toward her torso. This is a really fun way to color. I haven't done it in a long time. Quick lesson here on here's a quick lighting lesson, because I just realized I did something that some people might not understand. If you have an object like her hand, which is in front of you know, she's holding it slightly in front of her torso. We can see that because of the angle of the shoulders, okay? And the angle of her hand, I mean, you can tell. So the light source, you know, her hand is glowing. At some point in this thing, we'll do some, you know, special effects or something over here. But the hand's glowing, and it's in front of her torso. I don't want you to look at a drawing like this and go, oh, the lighting is on the right, so I'm going to light it only on the right edge because that's where the light is. No, it's not. This is not how light works. The light's in front. You don't want to oversimplify your light source to just, oh, it's on the left, oh, it's on the right, oh, it's above, oh, it's below. There's a z-axis you have to keep in mind here, you know? So when you decide where a light source is, you have to decide, is it on the right or the left? Is it above or below? And is it in front or behind? Visual aids. This hand is in front, and so if you if we go back to how we know what cylinders look like, right? We know what cylinders look like. So if I think of this little bit of latissimus dorsi here, I think is what that is, a little bit of lat here. If you think about the shape of that muscle, it's sort of kind of cone-ish through here, but that light would be here because it's in front. It's reflecting off the front. So the other way to think about this is for any billiard pool players, imagine that the camera where we're standing is where we're shooting our pool cue from, and we want to bounce the ball off of her lat into her hand. Now I realize we're getting a little crazy thinking here, but if you think about it that way, though, it makes more sense. You wouldn't shoot, here's another way of looking at it. You got a little laser gun that reflects perfectly off of everything. It's called light, but you've got a laser. Well, if you were going to, like, I want to bounce a laser off her chest and hit her in the hand. Well, you wouldn't aim here, would you? Because it would skip right off and go out the backside. That's the Fresnel effect, by the way. That's a different lighting setup. But what would happen is you would aim out here somewhere. You would aim maybe right here. That thing's wrapped around the front, it's doing this number, boom, hit it, and then it's going to come out this way. But it needs to reflect forward a little bit. Does that make sense? That might not make any sense at all, but I'm trying. Anyway. Hopefully that was clear enough to somebody. Doesn't really follow the wrinkles very well. I'm trying to kind of follow the shapes that are being made here. Same thing here. So like you have an orb and it's going to reflect light. You're not going to like, all right, we're going to do this. Like that's not where the light is coming from. But in order for light to hit just that, it would have to be coming from inside her chest out past her breasts. That is not how light works. So again, the light's out here. Okay? I said I would lasso everything, didn't I? There we go. There's our lasso shape, and then do this. And then we can make another shape, maybe in here, doing something like that. And we'll match it over here. Again, like now it starts to feel a little bit like it's got some like striations to it, or there's something going on there. Yeah, it looks cool. It looks cool. And then this will look better when we do the other side. But does that kind of make sense? Does that help with some of the angles here? And we just got a lot of light coming from the bottom, so I'm just making a few more little indications of that. And then all of these little what do you call them? Little, I don't know what you would call this. The piping? Is that what that's called? Is it piping on a costume? Something? Something like that? Was all of that on a layer above everything? It was. I wasn't actually paying attention to what I was doing. Let's move that back down here. There we go. I bet if I merge that, it's going to do funny stuff. Not really. Really glad you're feeling better. I felt for you past life streams. We had to call it early for pain, discomfort. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I feel like a new person. I feel like a different person. I'm gonna use more of this tip. Good. Good. All right. What else? Oh, I said I would use the lasso. I keep forgetting about that. You sound better. Thank you. I've had a couple of people say that to me the last couple of days. That the people that I see regularly. I mean, I do. I honestly, I feel like a new person. I really grossly underestimated how much I think tension was in my head, because it's like I have blood flow in my brain. I literally feel mentally so much clearer. And it's not close. Like, I mean, it's dramatic. Like, yeah, again, like, this is all going to go in a book one day that you guys will be able to read, and it'll be a fascinating story. But it sort of proves to me everything that I've thought for the last couple of years about how we think about medicine and how we treat it, how we think about ourselves and how we're wired up. And I just think the way that Western medicine deals with the body, I think, is about as wrong as it can possibly be. And I feel like I'm evidence of that now. Because this is done without the help of any doctors whatsoever. I got no help whatsoever on this from the outside the outside world. What happened with your brain? Well, it wasn't my brain so much as In hindsight, I sort of understand what happened a little bit better. Let me get back to you on that question, though, because I want to talk about something else here real quick while I'm on a roll. Going to use the same techniques as before, where some of the, again, we got a real strong light over here, we got a little light over here. There's light everywhere, so you really can't, like, go wrong with just, you know, following what the artist has put down. Like, in this case, Rebekah is an expert at shadow placement, so why, you know, don't fight it, roll with it. But anyway, really incredibly long story short, and I've had to learn to tell this in a few minutes because it's an insane story. But about I had posture and issues, back pain. Also, like most of my starting like from like 25. I had really bad. I was the guy that you could tell from 20 feet away worked on computers. You know what I mean? You know those guys. Some of you are those guys. And I was one for years, so I can talk about y'all too. I still am. But my posture was terrible, and nothing seemed to correct it. Like the normal PT, the normal exercises people have you do, like it's very well understood problem. Like we know pretty much how to deal with it in a very basic way anyway. And I really wasn't getting any relief or improvement at all. And so, you know, I mean, I spent thousands and thousands of dollars at PT offices and doctors and imaging and MRIs and x-rays and just trying to understand what was wrong with me. And I had this tremendous tension, and it just wouldn't go away. And now would be a good time to insert ads. No, thank you. I just got that message. I think it's when it hits 50 people. That's what happens. But let's see. Where was I? So I'm on a lacrosse ball doing like some self PT massage. I'm surgical with that thing after this many years. And something popped, la-di-da. I grew 1.5 inches. Okay? I didn't grow, but like my spine like popped and unfurled. Okay? It wasn't like I had bad posture, which made me short. With my bad posture, I could push myself against a wall, and I was 5'9". The new posture, I'm 5'11". Okay? So my lats were effectively like burritoing my whole torso, if you can imagine it that way. And but over the last 4 years, I have been tremendously uncomfortable as my body is trying to adjust to this, because my bones moved, but all the other tissue that was used to being stuck in the same position for about 40 years all decided to let go at the same time. And at least my back and my skeleton moved. It's like I have a new frame, and then all the adhesions and stickiness and joint issues that have been an issue for 40 years, it's like now all of that is pulling on my neck. And I had this like tremendous tension, and it literally was like my body could not contain, like my new frame was too long for the rest of, you know, the muscles that had gotten almost like atrophied into the position they were in. And I said I was going to make this short, but this is as short as I can make it. So anyway, even longer story short, blah, blah, blah. I end up last week, the last of it, it seems like sort of, again, dramatically just shook into place. And it just fixed everything. Like, but this is something like, it's also like, I don't know, like I said, I think the torsion from my shoulders was effectively putting a torsion on my head, which was, putting a torsion across your skull, so I don't think my brain was just, I think it was, imagine like throwing a Walmart bag or some plastic bag over like a brain, and then start winding the handles. Like, even if the handles are up here, it's going to get tight everywhere. Okay? So, like, imagine that my head was the part being twisted at the, that's effectively what happened. And, anyway, it's a crazy thing that, some people believe and some people don't, but the people that know me believe it because they can see it. But yeah, and this whole story is the basis. Between that and there's a mental health element to all of this that I can't get into right now. But yeah, I feel very, very different these days, which is kind of insane. But yeah, like I immediately like just had an urge. I'm like, I need to get back in the gym yesterday. Like, it was just like, I think my body needs to like build up strength in this position to kind of lock everything into place. But yeah, it's a crazy story. It's an insane story that I've never heard of this happening to anybody else or anything like this. So like, I can't really, I don't know. A lot of your questions I might not have answers for. Remember the shoulder surgery? Yeah, like that was a symptom. The shoulder was a symptom. It was not the cause. So like the way that, I'm going to pause very, very briefly, because to me, like, I felt something the other day in my body that I'm like, yeah, people don't realize they're wired up this way. I think it's it's its own epidemic. We just don't know it. If this is your head, and then let's say here's your shoulders, and this guy has really broad shoulders, arms, and then the legs, arms out this way, and this, and that, and that. So like we tend to think very much in terms of like up, down, left, right with our bodies, and it's completely wrong. Like, our bodies are spiraling everywhere, okay? Like, muscles spiral around bones. Your walking movement, if you track all the points, creates spirals. Running, swimming, all this stuff is spirals. And this is not my insanity. You can look that up. But what people don't realize, when they think of tension as like this, or my arm is tight, or my back's tight. It's running this way. So what happens, especially in artists, is we overwork the right side. And this ends up actually twisting in this direction, because those are the direction the muscles twist anyway. And this just continues. Like, it doesn't stop just because you get to your shoulder. So when you have an issue with like effectively an over spiralization of the muscles in your arm, it doesn't just stop there. Like, and this is how PTs and doctors think, it seems like most of the time, is like, oh, well, your elbow hurts. It's because your elbows hurt. But no, like, what if your elbow is hurting because your right lat is pinned against your rib cage and this is tight? I'm like, this is the kind of stuff that if anything happens to me after this book comes out, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. But I joke about that, but I've told my wife a couple of times that, like, like, I don't know. Is big pharma, is big medicine going to come after me? I don't know. But anyway, like this tension, it's easy also to think about it from like a top view, like this. And like these are his feet down here, let's say. You can easily imagine how if you've got something spiraling across this way, then you're going to have these points where things are really, really constricted, and they get even tighter. They get even more tighter. And then you end up with tightness running this way and running this way. And everybody's like, oh, I have knots right here. Just work on that. It's like, no. It's like this tension runs all the way here to here. Do you think it stops here? No, it wraps around the back side of your body down to your hips, and it might be where your hip pain's coming from. This is how tightly wired together human bodies are. We don't think about it this way. I think it's completely wrong how we think about our bodies. And my book is set out to prove that. And I'll either, I don't know. People either think I'm nuts and commit me or or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's going to be a weird book. Let me tell you guys. It's going to be weird. My cousin had an experience like that. He shattered his ankle waiting too long to have it reset and was redirected to a doctor that went by old medicine practices. Had acupuncture done, was prescribed a bunch of different herbs. Within weeks, it was fixed. He went back to the hospital for a checkup. Doctors were amazed he was walking around. They say that it should have been casted up for at least 2 months. Here's what I think happens. Like, over the last 4 years, and I will get back to this drawing in just a second, guys. I'm sorry, but like over the last 4 years, I have like had transient, like temporary symptoms of tinnitus because of the tightness in my ears were literally counter rotated slightly. So it was putting this torque on my skull. So by again letting that go, it's like, well, the tinnitus goes away. Oh, you have tennis elbow. It's like, no, you don't. You have like something stuck somewhere. It's preventing your elbow from moving like it's supposed to, you know? And I fixed that thing on the opposite rib and it fixes my elbow pain, you know? So it's like, I wonder, I'm like, how many people are walking around with a bunch of conditions that have nothing to do with what they're being treated for? You know, so I am implementing Tai Chi, yoga. There's some old Buddhist ninja stuff I found out that helped me out. But like, it's going to be very heavy on like Eastern medicine applications and stuff, because that's been what helps me, or what has helped me. The book does not exist yet because I haven't drawn it yet. It's like, it's barely, you know, there's not a lot of, I've got some writing done, but that's about it right now. But I think my goal is to once I get the, what do you call it? Once I get the majority of the writing done, so I've got enough to start drawing, I will probably start doing, I will start doing a lot of that on live streams and things, and it'll probably be the focus of a new channel. Again, I know I've been saying this for a while, but like, I've had some very serious mental health issues that I think have prevented me from being able to just think. And so I feel clear. I feel like I know what needs to happen. And so that's kind of where I am with all that right now. But I appreciate everybody here for that, and you know who you are, that has hung around the last couple of years, because this channel, I think, is not what it should have been. But I realize how sick I was now. I think I've been disassociated for most of my life. And I didn't know it until about a year or two ago. I can't get into all the whys right now, but yeah, it's changed my life. I gotta say, it's changed my life. So all these shoulder pads, these are the only angles facing this way. So I'm not, well, this will come around the back side too, probably. But, that's why I'm not doing a whole lot of coloring on them. It's like maybe a little bit splashes up here just so we can see, you know, that curve. Just a little bit. There you go. Martial arts and meditation perform miracles indeed. Like, yeah, they do. Like, I'm a believer. I'm definitely a believer these days. Does she have a yellow X on her shoulder? I'm like, I think so, probably so. Is it? Oh, it's red. Is it red? It's red. Nice. Excuse me. I had a motorcycle accident in 2020. Traditional medicine helped me to get fixed. It's never enough to heal. Chinese medicine, acupuncture, chiropractor healed me. Yeah, for me, it's like, because my whole, like, you know, imagine like a sheet of like a rubber sheet. Let's just say you can imagine like a rubber sheet of material, and it has, you know, X amount of stretch in it. You know what I mean? So like in my case, something got overstretched beyond the point that it should have been, and it put this insane amount of torque kind of at the base of my skull and my sacrum, like my back. Like, those were the two main ends of it. And if you really simplify it that way, it's just a matter of right now, it's like the only thing left for me is like my rib cage and pelvis are both sort of still sort of trying to kind of align them properly. Because this is something, my body's never been in this position before, even when I was younger. I've got like you can't really tell on a even with a shirt, it's hard to tell, but I've got a bit of an indention on one side of one pec that I've had forever, and I just thought it was a birth defect. But it was like my sternum and my back were also counter twisted against each other, and it's like, so some of this stuff is things that like I've never ever properly dealt with before. You know what I mean? So anyway, it's in all this stuff is nuts. It's just nuts. I'm well aware. Anyway, I like how this is coming out. And we haven't even got to the fun stuff yet. How am I doing on time? 1 hour 15. Maybe we'll finish this today. It's going to be close. And I don't like how hard that edge is. I'm just going to blur all of this down a little bit. And I think on her leg, I'm gonna really push the intensity of that really bright here, since we're right next to her sword, basically. And I don't want to just fill it like I just did. I actually want to create a little gradient here. Because her leg is slightly in front of the sword, so it would come kind of around the back a little bit. And same thing here. This would be very bright. So far, so good. It looks weird with everything glowing on her, and the swords aren't actually glowing. So, I'm gonna brighten these up. Bit of like a texture brush. And I'm gonna dress up all this lightning later too with more stuff. I'm gonna shrink this selection of the sword by like 15 pixels, a little more than that maybe. Yep. And then use a slightly brighter color. Like right through the middle of this thing, like it glows a little bit brighter there. How's everybody doing? All right. I think I like it. I think I like it so far. I do think I want to push the brightness on this leg a little bit more. Not that bright though. Same thing over here. And a little bit more here. And there's not really enough here to lasso. I'm just gonna color in these little lines here. So far, so good. All right, let's do the hair. So, again, I'm just gonna start with like kind of a subtle, subtle glow over all of it, just to kind of shift the value a little bit. And then, I guess I'm going to start with the hair that's lit by this light on her hands. And then I think at the end, I want to do a really dramatic, like local light almost right in her face. Or, just strategically, do some rim lights or something around there. But, yeah, let's just start, let's start here. And again, I'm trying to think about like which angles. That's not meant to be there. Which angles are facing down. Like that's really all I'm thinking right now is which ones are facing down and toward her hands. And all of that. And I'll do the same thing, big soft airbrush. And I'm thinking, no, this is fine. We're on the right track. And up here, it's really just, we're gonna, like, if you can imagine her like, what's it, bangs, I guess those are, you can imagine those sort of creating their own little cylinder or shape or whatever you want to call it. It kind of runs, so you follow the lines here. So again, you can kind of think about it as sort of a screwy shaped cylinder or part of a sphere. It's just like a corner of a sphere, however you want to think about it. Whatever makes it work for you. But now we've got all that selected. I get my color again. Just along the, whoops, wrong layer. Just along the bottom. I'm gonna hit that. Because again, like her hair would kind of curve down in front of her face, I'm imagining. And I'll kind of get it out of the little nooks and crannies in between the hair so it looks like there's a little depth there. And this one is facing straight down. That surface is, so we can make that really bright. Same thing back here. Whoops. Excuse me. I'm real interested to see how you do the face. Well, aren't we all? From Lafayette. How's it going? Love your work. Been watching your videos for a while now, but this is the first time I've caught you live. You're at work. What do you do? Welcome. No, you're not alone at work here. There are quite a few people that should be doing something else right now. Pretty sure. If you have something curved like that, like the curve is going to where it's going to be brightest, because it's like that's the point of maximum, you know. I don't even know what to call it. It's where the highlight sits. So like the end of her hair, I'm kind of imagining that being on the inside, maybe away from her hand, so you don't see the shadow down there. And all of this. So I'm kind of just, you can see I'm kind of doing this in sections. And you can also see why I love working with Rebekah so much, because every freaking little strand is perfectly drawn. And all the little, everything you can trace back. Like, there's nothing roughed in, there's nothing fake, there's nothing like, oh, it's sort of some hair here. Nope. You can follow every little bit right back where it, right back where it goes. And again, getting closer to her hand, so I'm kind of brightening this up a little bit as we get closer to that. And if you're thinking, well, she doesn't look very blonde right now, that is because she doesn't look very blonde right now. And she will before I'm done. So breathe. It's all gonna work out. There's going to be some big glowy stuff. So some of this stuff that looks kind of rough right now is going to also get smoothed out. There we go. How's everybody doing? Questions, comments, concerns? No critiques, please. If you're new here. Noticed a few other eyeballs than usual. Actually, I'm just gonna make all this a little bit brighter down here. Support tickets can wait. So do you have some kind of cover, like, oh, Wednesdays I'm doing my certification for Microsoft Server Plus Azure AWS thing? Is that like how you play it? Just yeah, I've got this thing. It's I just can't. I gotta. That's what I would do. Yeah, sorry, Wednesdays at 10, off limits for me. The database will just explode if I don't, you know. Yeah, some people will kind of believe anything you say about computers. I worked in computers long enough to know that. So, yeah. That's what I would do. Absolutely. And some of you that have been around a while will also be happy to know that I have marketing help now. So once I get all this stuff rolling, I have like social media plans and stuff. Like, not really plans, but I got things. I figured out things. So I have all this confidence in my I have confidence in my plans. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to act. But no, I gotta say, I know everybody's salty about it right now, but ChatGPT 4 is unbelievable. And if you're not using it in your job, you should be. And you're like, but me, I do. Yep, you too. I only do this. I load groceries. Okay, maybe it can improve you if you're loading groceries, but it might. If there's, I will say this, and I tweeted this yesterday. If you're an artist and you are struggling with how to promote yourself, with what social media networks are best, what sort of posts should you be making, like how do you build a social media campaign, like how do you and you're one of those people like me before that just had no freaking clue and no interest. That was the key, the no interest part. I didn't want to know. It's not my deal. I don't want to be a marketing person. Well, I feel like I have an entire marketing team now. And so just fantastic ideas. That the thing that's killing me is that I feel like I can work at the speed of my thoughts with this thing. Like, I am walking around, my wife's shopping. I'm we're chilling. I'm playing on my phone, sitting outside the dressing room. And in the time she was in the dressing room, I had 28 pages of a course developed. Full scripts. I'm going to go in and tweak things and make it a little bit more my voice, but if it's something that is progressive or like there's a process for, it's really, really good at that kind of stuff. And it was in something I wasn't going to do a course on, but after a little back and forth with this thing, it sort of convinced me it was a better idea than what I had. And we're all kind of doomed. Oh yeah, like AI is going to destroy the world for sure. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's helping me with my marketing, so I don't mind. But no, it's going to bring about the end of humanity eventually. It's really helpful, guys. I mean, I'm at work as well. As long as your work gets done, nobody cares. Yeah, that's good. And I'm sorry this has slowed down tremendously since I've started talking about this, but I am so hard to impress with technology. I am. I've been involved in it forever. I've been computers forever. Like I follow tech. I am a complete freaking tech nerd. This thing is being underestimated right now by everybody. And the art world is rightfully so very upset about how things like Midjourney and the ethics of the art side of it, that's gonna go away. Like there's going to be AI that doesn't train itself on copyrighted art. So at some point, somebody's gonna do it. And if you're not using it to, especially if you're solo like me, sort of trying to just make your way on the internet, if you're not using something like this to help with your plans right now, you will be within a year. Maybe not even a year, because this thing's going to change the planet. And we're like I said, even with all the crazy articles and everything, everybody's talking about it, it's still being underestimated. You have a conversation with it like I'm talking to you guys right now. Like I actually, you guys have heard me, you guys have been around a while, I'm not going to rehash it right now, but you guys know my color cake analogy, that I use when I'm using color theory. I explained it to it. I explained the concept so it would know what I'm talking about, and the rubber bands and tension, and I explained all of that so it would understand what I was talking about. Well, then it did. And I said, I'm literally typing, can we develop a web app that does this? I don't know how to code. I need your help. Sure. Download this text editor, copy this code block. I've got a working website with a web app on it. I don't know anything about any of this stuff. It's not ready yet. It's not perfect. But it codes. So, completely independently. And if it does something, it's like, oh, that's not what I wanted. You tell it, that's not what I wanted. Make sure it's also got a gradation from dark to light in addition to the hue around it. Oh, okay, we're sorry about the apology. Sorry about that. Here's the new code update. That's how that thing works, if you didn't know. So, check it out. All I'm saying is check it out. Don't let the media and social media get you confused about some of this stuff, because some of it is really freaking useful. Like insanely useful. Chat GPT, the new version 4 requires a $20 a month, the one that codes. Yeah, I mean, these things are going to come out. You're going to see one every week for the next year, probably. But I saw Adobe's doing one. Everybody's salty about that, too. This is not going away. Like, Adobe even went so far as to say theirs is not trained on copyrighted material at all. And people are still like, rah, this is, but, I get it. I guess I get it. If that's your opinion, you're entitled to it. And be as salty as you like. I'm salty about some stuff, other stuff, like Procreate, Magic Wand. But yeah, just don't write it off. What I'm saying is just have a brain. 2 years from now, this is going to feel like a really silly, dumb argument we're having with each other. That's all I'm saying. So, artists need the help worse than anybody. You know, when it comes to like this kind of stuff, we're artists. We don't want to be business people. We don't want to think about marketing. We don't want to think about, I need to come out with an Instagram post every single day. Hello, Mr. Chat BT, whatever the name of the thing is. I told it to speak in the voice of, in the tone of Jarvis from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and to call me Mr. Russell. Also, by the way, through the whole process, just made me feel a bit better. I felt very Tony Stark because I also had my voice typing thing on. So I'm just like, yes, if you would replace line 17 with the previous code block you said, and we want this flipped, and then do this. And I'm like, I'm living in the future, guys. I don't know what y'all are doing. Anyway, I was having a blast. I really was having a blast. And it made, I'm like, please develop 10 social media posts tailored for Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Pinterest about what we were talking about. We were discussing, an app or something. Boom, 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 boom. Hashtags, like whatever. Now, again, I'm going to go back and tweak things, whatever, but and I'm not actually probably going to technically even use what I've done. It was sort of like a proof of concept at the time. By the time I get done and ready to do this, it'll probably be something different. But yeah, I mean, I can't say enough about how powerful it is. I just can't. It's yeah, I don't have the vocabulary to describe this thing. I really don't. All right. Is all the blue hair light good? I think we're good. A little around the edges here will help. But yeah, I have a feeling there's going to become a separation between people that use this technology and people that don't for the short term. And then within a year or two, you're all going to be using it whether you like it or not, because it's going to be built into every damn thing you've ever bought. You know what I mean? Like, Siri's not going to be Siri anymore. It'll be Siri, Uber AI Siri or something. Everything's going to change, man. Everything is going to change. And I'm excited and terrified all at the same time. I mean, obviously, I'm speaking very highly of ChatGPT, but is it terrifying? Absolutely. But if you have if you're like me, if you have personal anxieties about your career, about what to do next, it's not going to fix your problems for you, obviously, but it can give you some confidence and some things to try. That's what it did for me, because I went from being really frustrated with just, I've got to do marketing. I'm going to have to do marketing on this new channel. I don't want to do it. It will free up your mind for other things, So, anyway, there's my it's not really a pitch. I don't get paid anything. People are freaking out about all this stuff, and they're not paying attention to how useful some of it can be. So, any techniques or tips on how to color objects that are meant to be invisible in Clip Studio Paint? Invisible Woman or superhero powers? Thank you. You could only color the light. Basically. and then like what do you call it? Different background or something, it would probably make a little more sense. But and if you could see through that, then there's no background here or anything. It's just black. So like, you could hint at what's behind it. But yeah, effectively, it's just like, don't worry about base colors. Like whatever like power, the color the power is, you can kind of go that way with it. That's probably, I would do something like that. I don't know. I'd have to see. All right. I want to try something on her hair, and I reserve the right to change my mind. I'll do this on a separate layer just to keep it different. I'm thinking that's about the color. I just want to get the color I wanted. Yeah, and then I'll light it from the top with that color, basically. Same as before. We got a big orb here, so I'm gonna treat it like that. First, start with maybe some broad stuff, and then we'll get a little tighter in here. What are we talking about here? Just AI in general. Is what I was talking about. Does anyone know what those things are in Magik's hair? Who knows? I don't know. This is a highlight, if you didn't know. Go a little bit lighter, and also kind of around the edge a little bit. And then same thing before. Remember, we've got her, imagine her bangs, they've got curve to it. I'm not imagining her hair just falling flat down. And so you can think of this little region in the front where her bangs are. Ah, crap. Messed that up. As another little it's basically a light from the opposite direction. So I can like select all this. I don't want to color this one just yet. I want to pull it out. And then remove this hard light, the blue from before. And remove it from here. Sometimes you spend 20 seconds making a selection and then 2 seconds to do the color. Let's select that. And again, just hit the top of it. And so now it looks like her hair, especially because they're different colors, it looks like her hair has got a little bit of a curve across there. And we can push this a little more with a brighter highlight if we want to, which I think I do. And the same thing here. Just like specular highlights across the top. And I'm spending a significant amount of time here because it's close to her face. It's right at the top of the image. It's very important from a visual standpoint. And that is why I don't mind taking a little bit of extra time to get that right. And then we'll just pump that a little more. There we go. I like it. And then we've got that just big yellow thing. That helps us too. Because now that yellow is a unique color, it pulls us even more strongly toward the top of the image. So again, I'm basically just going through this hair now, thinking about any light that might hit directly from above is sort of what that's what I'm thinking here anyway. Whoops, sorry. And back to that deeper orange or yellowy color. Yeah. Yeah. Like it. Sorry. I'm just in a good mood, guys. Like I said, I'm laughing for no reason, smiling like an idiot walking around my house lately. I just feel good. I feel so good I'm worried. That's how good I feel. Oh, let's see. What else? Let's fix that. Looks weird. Let's fix that. Overall today, has this been useful? I know my usual crowd. This is all old stuff. You guys all know how I do it. But if there's anybody new, is this you guys had fun today? You learned something? I'm not done. I'm just trying to get some feedback. These hairs would look nice if they were bright yellow and kind of takes us down the image. Yeah, like the flow of her hair is, I mean, like I said, Rebekah is a genius artist in my opinion. And so like the fact that her hair, you see how it flows down to her hand on the right side of the image over here, if you're looking at it. But it flows down. Let me draw this instead of doing hand motions. Actually, let me do that in yellow before I forget about it. On the right layer. Yeah. Like it. So, flow. We talk about flow a lot on this channel. Look at her hair. So her hair kind of right around her hand. Takes us to that focal point. Loops around the back side into the other focal point. These hairs are basically going, look at the sword. Look at how cool her freaking hands are glowing. This little strand takes us right down her legs. We got this nice little line of action right down the middle. Even the lightning is, it all just, it's all very like, you know, it's all very zen. I love it. Love it. Makes my job very easy. Ask ChatGPT. Oh, about what the... I will. I'm actually going to. And I will quote whatever it says. Hold on. That is hilarious. What is the... Would you call that a headdress? What is the... What is the thing on Magik's head? And I'm going to say Magik is an X-Man. Can you explain what she's wearing on her head? Magik, also known as Ilyana Rasputin, is a fictional character from the X-Men comic book series published by Marvel. I know this. She is Colossus' sister. I knew that too. She has the ability to teleport. I also knew that. The headdress that Magik sometimes wears is called the Eldritch Armor. It is a mystical armor that she can summon and control at will. The armor appears as in this case, I guess, a golden metallic headpiece that partially covers her face as well as other parts of her body depending on the situation. It is designed to protect her from both physical and magical attacks, and its appearance can change depending on the artist's interpretation. The Eldritch Armor is closely tied to magic sorcery powers, which she gained through time spent in the mystical dimension called Limbo. The armor's strength and effectiveness can vary depending on Magik's level of confidence in her connection to her magical abilities. Is that enough? Do you want more? I'm just, it's freaking insane, man. It's just insane. Why do you have the suspicion I'm a Spider-Man fan? Is it the shrine behind me? I don't know. Is that it? Anyway, all right. Let's see. We need a little more gold. So I am trying right now. This is a serious pro tip, guys. All right. I'm not messing around right now. This is secret information. All right. So her hair highlights, I'm trying to get them to make an interesting shape on their own. Okay. So if you can picture, or if you can imagine here, just these yellow highlights alone, okay? So if I'm gonna add a little bit more in here, just so there's no weird gap in it, and then over here, I'm painting without a selection. I know I said I wasn't gonna do that, but anyway, I'm gonna finish this real quick. This goes that way. This would have been faster if I was painting it. That's gold. That's gold. That's gold. There's some gold. There's some gold. And there's some gold. So look at just the gold. Okay. So if I isolate, I'm gonna can I do that? Can I do that somehow? Let's see. What am I trying to do here? Let's put all of this on one layer for a second so I can, nope, I don't want to use that. I'm going to increase the tolerance on the wand slightly so I get more of the yellow. Okay. Actually, look at the highlighted red section, the quick mask. Actually, look, you can see this stuff. So it makes its own interesting shape, and it's based on obviously the art, but this is the kind of thing that I am trying to and this again will separate an experienced colorist that's been doing it for a long time from someone that's brand new that doesn't know things like this. But the actual shape, and why isn't that drawing on this? There we go. So it kind of does this, and then there's a little bit here, and then there's a little bit there, and there's a little bit here. So even within the confines of, you know, what the art is, you should always be trying to make interesting shapes, and shapes that reinforce what it is you're trying to do. And so, you know, by having this sort of spread out in this pattern, it is accentuating the shapes that are already there. You know, it's not like I had to invent something here. I'm following, Rebekah is a god at this, so it makes it very easy. But it's the kind of thing that if you had just blasted her hair with yellow, you wouldn't have the same effect. So anyway, does that make sense? But this own thing, and you can even think in larger, you know, terms, like this whole shape, you know, but it's got a flow to it. It's got some meaning behind it. It's not just, oh, he's throwing highlights everywhere. if a real person answered that way, talking about what ChatGPT said, that would be enough. Well, that was I was making a point of how thorough this thing was. So it's like Google. No, it's not like Google. It's nothing like Google. Google is way behind on this right now. It will remember the contents of a conversation, like Mr. J right there is explaining. And for the sake of the conversation, you can actually teach it something it might need to know. Like if you've got a something that you a tone you want in the writing or whatever it is, like you just tell it whatever you want it to do, and it pretty much does it. Anyway, let's delete that. And the other thing that I'm seeing is that her hair is sort of flat in that there's not a lot of hue shifting within the transitions, which is really what makes hair look like hair. And so I'm going to actually, and this is sort of similar, I think of it very similarly as I do like subsurface scattering with skin, and it probably is very similar to that. But I'm just going to take an overlay layer, and I might change this color, but for now I just want to, in all the places that are sort of in between transitions, where they're not light and they're not dark, they're just in the middle. That is what I'm sort of pushing toward a little bit more warmth. And it'll also make her hair look a lot more alive and more like blonde hair. Or at least comic book blonde hair as it goes. And having all of this will go a long way to just making the hair look more lifelike and realistic. And it doesn't take very long because overlay respects the values, it respects the brightest values and all that. And this just needs to be yellow. Yeah, that's much better. And I'm just touching up her hair a little bit while I'm in here. There we go. Excuse me. A schoolgirl here in Norway asked ChatGPT for an essay on Norwegian heroes, and it named a man which killed 70 students in a political camp. That's not funny. I'm sorry. Oh no, it's not perfect. But I'm only asking it things that I feel like I'm already an expert on. So basically, or at least not an expert, but I have some knowledge of. I wouldn't be like, look, Mr. ChatGPT, I need to do surgery on my right ankle, so I need you to put together a list. No. Like, these are things that I have some idea about. So it's like, I'm definitely not trusting it with anything too important, So, anyway. Have I checked out the new Clip Studio Shading Assist? I have. And it's kind of a joke. But the colors are interesting. It picks some decent colors, a little whatever. But yeah, it's right now, it's not very good. Once they built in ChatGPT, and then we'll all be out of a job. No, it's bad now. It probably won't be bad in the future. Let me just catch up on the chat real quick. The AI kind of gives false info, but like, of course, like, yes, like, do not trust this thing implicitly. I'm sorry if I made that, if I gave an indication, which I guess I did. But yeah, the thing is known to say crazy things. So anyway, don't build like a life philosophy around what it tells you or anything, or Quick question. You probably get regularly, but is there a reason you don't have low-key music in the background? Put on your own music, man. I don't know. Like, the main reason is because most people, I don't like a lot of the music that people use for that kind of stuff, and some people really hate it, like just like elevator type music, and so, you know. But now I never really have. Maybe I should. Chat, I want to make a new religion. It probably would. I can't imagine what they're doing to like keep that thing reined in, you know? Because I'm like, I want to build a cult around hard light mode, and we're gonna, you know, we could do it. What time is it here? It is 12 o'clock noon. I have blackout curtains on my windows. All right. Let's do some skin. Save the best for last. The fun stuff. We all love skin, right? Skynet begins. I'm telling y'all, yeah, this we've had like, we're in the information age, I think they call it. This is the beginning of the AI age. I think it's we're all underestimating this shit. You can apply it to your own art as well, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Man, I could talk about ChatGPT all day, but I want to finish this. So, sorry, this thing not being yellow is bugging me because it's in front. All right. So we have two light sources. Let's think about this. We have two light sources. They are on her hand facing this way. That didn't work at all. There we go. And her sword all down here. So what I'm going to do is we're going to treat this as a light source like it is, and we're going to cast light going that way. And I think what will look best when I'm trying to decide like how much highlight to put where, whatever, if you do thirds, it almost always looks good. Almost always. That's about as clear cut as I can be on this channel. But if I'm going to color highlights on her skin, how much? About a third. Or I don't know, I'm going to do a bunch of shadows. How much light do I want to, or shadow do I want to leave? Maybe a third, maybe 2/3, whatever it is. So following the rule of thirds, I'm going to color this hand that's in front. Again, 3 dimensions, people, not 2. The hand's in front, one hand's in back. So we're going to get about a third of the highlights go on this side. And then on the back side, most of her is actually just going to be rim light over here. So that way we don't just have equal light on both sides, which might look okay, but artistically it's just not very interesting. So I don't want to have like, you know, it wouldn't actually work that way anyway on this because of the angles, but that's kind of my theory about where these highlights are going to go, in case you were wondering. The new CPS clip color mixing is like a by brush thing, but I haven't upgraded yet, so I'm waiting on all y'all guinea pigs to tell me if it works or not. Because this is a mission critical computer, you know what I mean? So I can't be lollygagging with buggy software that's been out a week. So y'all just tell me what's going on in a few weeks and I'll upgrade. Boy, does Rebekah draw good faces. Boy, is she pretty. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So I'm gonna start. We're just gonna highlight her whole face. Again, I'm thinking about this light source right now. And I'm going to treat it as if it's just all getting hit by that light first. And then I think what's going to look cool is have like one of these spikes cast a little shadow or something, maybe, or something. I don't know. We're going to see. But anywhere that I don't want it, we can remove. Like, it's not going to reach out there. It's not going to reach under her hair on that side. Not really going to hit this side of her nose. I'm going to remove that. It's not going to reach into here. I'm going to remove that. And I want to keep this edge soft, so I'll control that with a brush. I'm not going to control it with the lasso. This side turns away. Maybe a little hair falling on the face on that side blocks it from that way. Not really. Not at that angle. Something like that. So we'll start there, and that'll be sort of the first little pass here. I'm really only focusing on the right side, and because her face is round, guys. Like, we think about our faces being flat when we're coloring them and drawing them, but they're really not. Like, you know, it's, if you can see when I look down, it's like this eye and this eye, like they're pointed like this. So, you know, your head's round, in case you didn't know. So that cylinder effect that I'm doing here, again, like, just to beat the dead horse, like, I'm thinking in like this, you know, this is just a big, you know, curvature plane or whatever that is part of a cylinder. And so I'm just going to color that side of the cylinder minus all the places the light doesn't make, you know, doesn't make it. If that makes sense. Is this a commission or just something you decided to do for fun? This is something I decided to do for fun. Because I'm a weirdo. When I'm not getting paid to color, I color. Anyway, same color. I'm just going to start doing a few little subtle highlights on her face. It's sort of a trope at this point. But yeah, in comics, very often female faces are drawn very, very soft and simply. And so I'm trying to keep that in mind here. This looks amazing. I agree. I didn't draw this. I am coloring it. Yeah. And then so I'm gonna use. So let me explain what I'm gonna do here. I want that little Rembrandt triangle right here, right? Or it's somewhere in there. Looks like that. Okay, that's too bright, but you get the idea. It looks like that. But and that actually looks okay. I could leave that like that. But if you wanted that shape to be soft and not have a hard edge on it, you can, what you can do is hit the Q to hit. Well, let me deselect that. No selections. Hit the quick mask, and then brush in, like with a solid, you know, whatever round brush. Like whatever that shape is, and I'm too close and not really, I don't know, something like that. Well, that quick mask, what I'm painting in red here, will convert into a selection. So when I hit Q again, and actually show the selection, now my selection looks like that. And if I use a soft brush over it, it will have a soft edge on it. I just figured this out like 2 weeks ago. Like, oh, that's what quick mask is for. But see, now I can sort of like kind of hint at it. And I've got that nice little fall off without the hard edge on it. That makes sense? And actually her nose would like cast a shadow a little bit there. Anyway, something like that. And her eyes are looking very strange to me, so I'm going to brighten them up. Do her eyes glow when she's doing her power stuff? Do they glow at all? They look like they might glow. Somebody let me know that if you do. I'm going to look it up at the moment. Not crazy about that. Soft glow on the eyes would look good here, even if it's not comic accurate. That's kind of what I was thinking. I think she is. I think it's going to be subtle, but it only needs to be subtle. This is a hard light layer on top. And I'm going to overdo it first. And then just hit the letter C to switch to transparency. We can kind of sculpt this a little bit so that like it doesn't go past her eyebrow. And it looks like just her eye is glowing. Because technically the glow wouldn't cast anything over that. And so it helps to make it look that way. That's not even that subtle, is it? Maybe a little more subtle. Let's get her eyelashes in here. Because I do feel like I messed up Rebekah's eyelashes. So let's pull them back out a little bit. Subtle. There we go. So subtle you can hardly tell. Works on me. I think they have a similar tone to the blade. Yeah, like I said, I don't really know if that's right or not, but it looks cool, so I'm cool with it. Marvel's not paying me for this or anything, so I can do what I want. All right, where was I? We were on doing that layer. Okay. And I'm just going to go back, grab that color again. And now I'm going to think about it. Well, actually, let me go ahead and finish her skin from that light source, and then we'll go from there. So pop quiz. Is any of the light from her left hand, our right, really going to make it up here if we're being realistic about this? Not very much. And the reason we know that, I pop quiz you and then gave you the answer, which is not how that works, is it? But you can see that in the inks that are already here. Like this whole area isn't shadow. So I'm not actually going to do anything from that either one of these light sources on the top of her chest. It's facing up. You know, this is a comic book character, female. They're facing, the light is, you know, they are facing the sky. So they're not facing either one of our light sources, which means later on, when I add the light that just so happened to fall on her hair, we'll get some of that over there, but not yet. That's also why I don't have any light on the top side of her arm yet, because I just haven't done that yet. All right, so same thing here. I'm going to select her skin. And I'm going to remove it from all the places I don't want it right now. And I'm thinking about that light source. So I don't want to do anything there. I'm done. I don't want it to be there. It's not going to be on that arm. I'm not going to do anything on this arm. Everything else will get a little bit. And I messed up somewhere in there. I'll fix that later. I don't want to do this selection again. So I'm going to start again with same color I had before on her skin, which color was that? I've got too many. I need to label my hard light layers. That's that color. Let's label this actually. Blue light. What's that? What's on that layer? Nothing is on that layer. Let's go delete it. And is that the yellow? Yeah. And then yellow light. Very, very complicated layer setup here. There we go. And I end up making that selection again anyway. Hold on. Do that. And so, big soft airbrush. Got my color. And we're going to hit it a little bit from this side. Ooh, I didn't. It's not selecting that little area there. What am I doing wrong? Let me fix this in the base. It's not in the base color. Oh, it's that layer. Sorry. There we go. Little splash over. So again, let me select all this one more time. Blue light, got my light, big soft brush, and it still isn't selecting that because it must be wrong at the flats. It is. Hold on, guys. Sorry. Flatting error. I know I'm going to select her skin like a million times for the rest of this. You know what I mean? So I need to fix this now. Otherwise, I got to fix it every time I try to make a selection. Okay. Round 3 of trying to make this selection. Blue light. That layer. Not any of that stuff. Not that stuff. There we go. Yay! And then a little bit on this leg. Pull that forward. And we've got our start. And now we're going to do all these little muscles. Actually, do that. And as we're going around, there's less and less light hitting these muscles because remember, they're wrapping around the other side now. We're turning away from the light source here, okay? The hand's in front, but not that much. So as we get to this side, we got to do something different. We got to get away from that. And you got the rib that just happens to poke out that way a little bit. I'll do that later. And it looks like she's been doing some CrossFit. Let's see. This is why you leave flatting to professionals. Exactly. Exactly. And her leg, again, is very soft. I don't want to introduce a bunch of, like, you know, what do you call it? A bunch of, I think I'm going to do that quick mask trick again here. I don't want it to look too intense. So I'm kind of painting the selection area that I want to cover. Because, well, you're thinking, well, why wouldn't you just brush it in? Because I want the fall off going across this shape in this direction. And I don't quite care to paint all of that gradient while the gradient itself is a specific shape. Like that, my brain doesn't work that way. So now that I found this tool, it's like, oh, I should have been using this. So anyway, now that we've got that selection, I can shrink it to just her leg, and now I've got a soft outline again without having to. And that is not in a. It's not in a very good. Oh, it's going the wrong way. That's the problem. So again, I'm hit the quick mask, hit the letter C, and I'm actually going to the anatomy from the hip to the inside of the knee, it runs that way. That is where that muscle goes. And so when I hit the quick mask off, now I've got my little soft selection here that I just wanted to hint at anyway, that I did all that work for. But anyway, does that make sense? You guys follow all that? A lot of times to work on abs when in limbo. Exactly. And let's see. Yeah, to push this one more sort of level, like her nose would like really reflect sort of at that angle. And so I'm going to brighten that a little bit more. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. That should go that way. Yeah. And then if we want to push the, again, like push her skin another level, like just do like another layer of highlights here. Something in the ballpark of that. But again, like as I'm drifting away from the right side, those highlights are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. I really want her to look jacked, and so got a couple little. This actually faces that way. Learn your anatomy, people. It helps. It's hard. It goes a long way, those little points, because Rebekah certainly knows her anatomy. And maybe there is a little bit of that light right over there. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. But skin's very reflective. So if you're running around shooting lightning out of your hands, guess what? It would be reflective. You would be able to tell. Will you do the spike shadows in the face? I'm curious how it would look. Comic bookie. Hey, Masato, how's it going? Your knowledge of anatomy is definitely working for you. Your rendering looks great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Long way learning female anatomy. No, you should, I mentioned this several times before on this channel, but like I follow and tons of like CrossFitters and Instagram influencers. Just follow any women on Instagram that, you know, they like to show themselves without a lot of clothes on. They usually have very good lighting. They're very sweaty most of the time, so you get some really nice specular highlights. And, you know, throw a dude in there every now and then. Keep you out of trouble. That's what I do. The other thing I'm going to do, I just realized I'm going to do on this, is I'm going to push that rim light on the backside a little bit bluer, a little bit more saturated. Because even though both of these light sources are technically the same color, it goes a long way to make your surface look like it's solid if it actually has two colors on. Because this, like if I were to go in here real quick and like make a selection on this, it looks something like that, and then use the exact same color again, it wouldn't look terrible. It would look all right, but it also tends to flatten it, because in the real world, it's unless you have two of the same color light sources on an object, it doesn't really, it's not something we run into very much, in like, unless it's some kind of artificial environment, you know. And so instead of having it just be the same thing again, I'm gonna slightly saturate it a little bit more. Did I pick a perfectly gray color? I may have. Yeah, hold on. Let's just do that. Saturate it. Darken it a little bit so we actually can saturate it. I might have to darken her skin a little bit to get what I want here. Why is that not what I'm expecting it to do? Oh, I bet it's CMYK. Yeah, we're in that CMYK range that we didn't like at all. I gotta shift that. So yeah, like that. But do you see how much difference, how it feels like her body now has 3 dimensions, because you've got different light sources on both sides defining the forms. Does that make sense? Women on Instagram who like to show themselves with not a lot of clothes on. That doesn't exist. Oh no. But also, join a gym. Just learn how your body is wired together, and like that's helped me more than anything, I think, is just figuring that kind of stuff out. Excuse me. So I'm staying in the shadows I established before. That trick will go a long way for you too. Because it really does emulate the way light works. Like, I'm effectively ending up with a core shadow in the middle. But this would not wrap around that far. I need to, you know what it is? I'm not getting the bottoms of the muscles. That's what it is. I'm like that because they would actually, you know, like the muscles themselves would actually, we would be doing this, seeing them from the, they're lit from the bottom here. Is what I'm trying to struggle to say. Anyway, that gets us going. Yeah. Yeah, I need somebody to hire me to do a superhero book like this, because this is fun. It really is fun. And she looks a little weird at the bottom, that hard shadow across there, because that would actually, it kind of turns down there. That would be like the underside of her stomach, so I'm going to adjust that a little bit with more light, and then get rid of it in all of these areas where it would be shadow technically. And kind of wipe that out on that side a little bit more. And blur all of this together. A little bit better. And again, find like one spot. Find one spot that is just at the right angle to reflect that sword, and hit it with a little bit brighter light. And that also like does does wonders for, why is that not working? I'm sorry, I'm losing my mind trying to get this thing to put a color down. Because I'm in the blender, that's why. There we go. It's not quite in the right spot. It would be like, yeah, it would be about there. But yeah, I'm going to find a few more places I can hit that little bright light. Because again, the skin on this side is also actually closer to the sword, which is why it is brighter. This leg comes in front of the sword, so there's not going to be like a whole bunch of light be able to really see it seen from right there. And what else? Is that all the... Yeah, because her chest would actually block that light from hitting her face. Maybe we can get a little bit out here on her ear, maybe. And in the same way that her hair needed that little bit of orange in the midtones to like pull that out, I think her skin also needs a little bit of that too, because she would have like subsurface scattering and stuff going on, right? Let's see. How can we see your pre-recorded videos? Become a YouTube member. All of my old streams are, well, most of my old streams are available for them. Let's see. I also have this idea that secondary light sources need to be darker. Obviously, this isn't the case when the light source is a large magic sword. Yeah, there's no really rules about that. Like, you know, this part of the image is already going to be really bright and intense because of the sword. And so, you know, by having some of that really bright light down one side, like that's not going to give you a huge focal point that's going to be distracting or anything, because it's in a relatively small part of the image. Now, if we were doing something that like also set up these like big blocks of white, like it, you know, it might throw it off, you know. But I'm gonna hit her skin again. And oh, when you guys see me do that, I'm just looking at the selection. Like I can see that better than I can see marching ants. And so hitting the quick mask just lets you see your selection very easily. But anyway, we're going to go back to this overlay layer, and I don't know what color this should be. I really don't have any idea. I have an idea, but I'm going to try something. If it doesn't work, we'll do a different color. That's the wonder of this. So we're on a separate layer, so yeah, we're good. I'm going to start just by, again, kind of dabbing it across, and it should saturate the midtones a little bit more than it does. Actually, that's too bright. I don't want it to brighten. I want it to just hit the midtones. And so I'm going to do that. And a little bit down there, a little bit down there. Same thing on this side. Just kind of big, it's a big soft brush. It's really nothing too crazy here. I'm just, but it goes a long way to just make it look more interesting than if it didn't have it. And the thing is, if you did that, you're like, well, I don't know if that's the right color. Because this is on a separate layer, we can shift that around to all sorts of different colors, You know, I can shift it more toward like a natural, like, you know, skin color, and it'll actually, you know, show up that way. So it's sort of whatever you're going for here, but I really wanted to go with the pretty blue, which is about where it was. And what else? Let's see if, is this thing recording? Okay, good. Next thing I'm going to do is the light source from the top on her skin. So I don't know if technically any of that light would hit her face at kind of the angle I've got it drawn at between her bangs and everything else. But I'm sort of curious what it would look like if we excluded, do a little hair shadow, and then all the places it definitely wouldn't reach. This is a light source from the top, and so you wouldn't see under the nose. All of this would probably be in shadow. All of this would be in shadow. That's not quite right. Sorry, give me a second here. I think I want to do that. Yeah, and then just the front little edge here. I don't know if this is realistic, but it might look cool. What color were we using? That color? I'm going to, what would it look like if I used yellow on an overlay? I'm kind of experimenting a little bit right now. I haven't tried this before, what I'm about to try. I just want to hint at a light source from the top. And that is not, what if it was in hard light mode? Ooh, I like that a lot. I like that a whole lot. My shadow is kind of garbage, but I like that. That's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. All right, let me erase that for a second. I'm going to just put a shadow over her face as if it's from her hair. Maybe. And then let's remove all this stuff again that I need to remove. I don't think anything else is facing up. Oh, wrong layer mode. That's normal mode. I don't need that. I need that one. I like how that is blending. I really like how that is blending. That is not what I expected that to do. Okay. Let's see. Did Rebekah do this for Marvel? No, I think it's a commission. Hey, Kurt, it's really late where I am. Good night. Yeah, good night. We'll just say good night. I'm not saying all that. But yeah, thank you for watching. I'm going to have to pay you to cover color some of your covers. Well, you should. Absolutely. That's like the only work that I'm taking at the moment. is I'm booked up on everything else anyway. all of this is so same angle. So we don't need to do any of that right now. I don't want any of that right now. So using the same color as I used before on her face coming from above, I'm going to hit this a few times. And then just sort of to define these forms a little bit more. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to smudge it because in real life, they don't look like that. Even though a whole bunch of colorists color them that way. Oops, wrong layer. Why is that not? Let's brighter light. Why is that not? What is going on here? Oh, Blender. Never fails. Never fails. And I'm like, why isn't this working? I'm on a Blender mode. Or instead of the what do you call it? Whatever the other mode is. Yeah, I just like deleted a chunk out of that, like as if it's a shadow from her head. That actually looks good. And then we got another excuse to do one here from that little hair. So it looks like the hair is sort of creating a shadow too. This is not bright enough and it is annoying me, so I'm going to fix it real quick. And this little stripe on her hair. Oh, I'm not using the lasso. I said I would. I like how this is turning out. So somebody asked about the spike earlier. If I was going to do that, I would do it kind of like that. Although I don't even know if that's quite the right angle or not. But, whoops. And then just delete the yellow light source from that area, and then the blue light still comes, or not, well, yeah, you delete the yellow light so that the blue, no, I did that wrong. That would be lit by the yellow light. You wouldn't see the blue light. That's what color it would be. That kind of looks cool, though. Doesn't look too distracting. I'm going out for a run. Stellar work today. Yeah, I've been sitting here for almost 3 hours today, and I'm not falling over myself, you know, worn out. So I do think I'm doing better. But yeah, we're pushing 3 hours. This is a long stream for me, and we're so close to being done. We're so close to being done. So I'm gonna stick with this for a little bit more, because we're almost done. I'm gonna do these lightning things, and I think we can be out of here in 15 minutes. So I'm going to hit the shoulder pads with the light from the top now. By the way, if you're new here, not every colorist thinks as mechanically as I do. Just be aware of that. There's some people who are really loose and goosey and just paint. And I'm not one of those people, but don't look at this and think, oh, this is how everybody works. They're all robots. I'm like, nah, not really. Not really. Just enough light to make it look like there's something going on there. And I'm going a little bit, again, like not quite the same temperature as the light on the bottom. Just a little bit different. Just enough to like, again, give it a second color on that side. Lean it a little like green here, maybe. Since the light is yellow-ish, it would also be reflecting off her hair and stuff. So, like, yeah, I think that works. Same stuff over here. Again, like, really hadn't done much. Just gonna tap it with a little bit of light. Whoops, sorry. And I want this little strand down here to have some yellow on it. I just think it needs to be yellow. Just a little bit more. Just to sort of like smooth out the gradient of yellow. It kind of just stops abruptly, so tag, you know, few little yellow spots down there, and it kind of fades a little bit easier. All right. I'm gonna do this lightning, and let's call it. All right. So layer on top. It's in hard light mode, and I don't know if it'll be in hard light mode the whole time. I'm gonna try this though. I'm gonna start with some subtle glowy stuff around her hand. Same thing over here. I'm not really worrying about a selection or anything right now. I'm just sort of tapping these bright colors in here. And I don't want to just blast it. Like, there's a lot of cool detail in this thing, and I don't want to like overwhelm it. But I like how that looks. I don't know if her... Sorry, I know I said I was going to lasso all this stuff, but I'm coming into the end, and I just need to get this done. So this is a little bit faster, I think, for me right now, because I just know what I want to do. This needs to be brighter. Because it is literally, like, right next to this thing. And I'm actually on top of the lines right now, so I don't have any black coming through here at all, which I don't do a lot, but when it calls for it, it looks good. Excuse me. And then I'm going to do another hard light layer and just label this lightning so there's no confusion that this is the lighting that I'm painting. And do I want to... I don't have these flats selected, so I'm going to invert the other stuff. And actually, you know what? Well, let me back this up for a second. I want to start this a little bit not white. Yeah, we're getting, this is like right on the edge of what you can do in CMYK. It does not like this blue. Boy, it does not like this blue when you really saturate it. So I'm just kind of following her little indications here. Then I'll come back through this, like through the middle of each one with a really bright, intense light. And that should make this look like lightning. Whoops, wrong color. And I'm sort of intentionally going outside the lines a little bit here. Like, I don't want this to be, there is going to be a little glow around it. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. And I don't know if I'll be able. I don't know how. I'll have to figure out what to do on the lightning that's outside out here in the white. How to make that look like it's glowing. So I'm just gonna go darker color for now, and I'll figure out later whatever that's supposed to look like. This seems to be okay, and I'm letting some of her line work do the lifting here. I'm just sort of hinting that there's stuff going on out here. And if it seems like I'm hurrying up, I am. I've been here longer than I intended to today. But I had a good day. I had a really fun time with you guys. I enjoyed it, and but I got some other stuff I got to do. And now we're going to go to white. And we're going to really make this glow. I'm using a pencil tool here just because I like the texture of it. And it'll make it feel a little cracklier or something, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know. And then I'm just sort of going right down the middle of this thing with really bright white, which will make it look like it's glowing a little bit more. And again, like, it's lightning, so like I'm not worrying too much about like, oh well, that's not straight and that needs to do this and this, you know, like it's meant to be very intense looking, you know. And I'll probably end up doing a little bit of a glow, a little bit more glow around that before I'm done here. How's everybody doing? Everybody all right? Everybody still here? I had a good turnout this week too. Why do you work in CMYK when it's not going to be printed? How do you know that? I don't know that. why would I color anything that wouldn't look right printed? that would be my question to you there. I mean, granted, sure, RGB art exists, and you can have like really intense things that look crazy, but like, just imagine that it's like, man, that looks really great. Like, let's run your pinup in a contest. It's gonna be in a paper. It's gonna be in a newsletter. It's gonna be whatever. And it's like, and you know, you can't print it. It's gonna look like crap. You know, like this if I turn CMYK off, like you see how intense those blues get. I'm toggling it. You can, but yeah. Well, yeah, it looks amazing. And on Twitter, it'll look amazing. Like, you know, when I export the RGB thing, but like, it's not right. Like, it's not going to print that way. And so I try to not worry about that too much, you know? And I think one last thing I want to do here, I think, is gonna go a little hopefully Rebekah doesn't beat me up. No, she won't. I'm kidding. I'm just gonna do a little fancy stuff on the side of this lightning. I think it just feels like it needs a little something. I don't know. Make it look dangerous or something. Does that look cool? I think it looks cool. You know what? Where I learned to do this? I got really good at drawing lightning like this when I was a kid. Because this is what the Ghostbusters beams look like. And I used to love drawing those things. And I'm following very closely what she's doing. Like, I'm just, you know, I am just like accentuating it a little bit. But I think it looks cool. It might be overcooked, but I don't know. Same thing on the sword. And trying not to mess up her line work too much here. And we got a little bit coming in that way. And then I think the very, very, very last thing I'm going to do, because I'm ready to eat, is a little bit of a glow. It needs to be able to show on the black. Hold on. Yeah, some of these places where the lightning doesn't glow, I'm gonna make sure, or that wasn't colored the right way before. And then in all the little places where the lightning turns or makes a little junction, like hit it again with the little glow there, because that is actually what happens. Like and it's super subtle. Like it doesn't. This takes no time. But it goes a long way to making this look like it's actually glowing. Good stretch. Hi, Kurt. This is very educational, and I see your approach to energy. Have a great day. Well, thanks so much, guys. Yeah, this has been really fun. I have had a blast today working on this because I love coloring Rebekah's work, as I've said about 14 times today. But yeah, if you enjoyed today and you want to keep me streaming around here, then please do consider becoming what is it called? A member of of the channel or Patreon, and especially if you're a colorist or artist. You know, I do feedback on in a class every month for everybody, and you can get all my old streams if you want, if you're a YouTube member. And then patrons also get a PSD file every month, so you can go into my layers, and I'll probably put this one up next month. So you can get this and see what's going on and see how it works and take it apart and put it back together and learn all the stuff you want to learn. How do you set your colors to CMYK and clip? It fakes it, but if you control Y, it will pull up the view color profile preview settings, and you can change the preview. I have different opinions on this, I guess, but people might. But this one, the sheet fed coded V2, is the one that looks closest to what Photoshop CMYK looks like. I make sure this is set to relative colorimetric. Is that word? Colorimetric? Whatever that fancy word is. Don't check anything else, and then click OK. And you can toggle that view with Control Y. Let me zoom up here. See that? That won't print. That will. That won't. That will. All right. And just like that, I think it's done. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I know I can't say that enough. I feel like I learned something here, you know? It's like something excuse me, I was shocked at how well hard light blends over itself. I think that's how light works. I think it's actually accurate, because I had a blue light from the bottom and a warm yellow light from the top, and they both blended into a more neutral white, which is exactly what would happen. And so I'm just really shocked by that a little bit, I think, at how good that looks. I will definitely be stealing that again and doing that again. But yeah, subscribe, comment, like, bells, buttons, click something, would you? Click anything. But yeah, I really like how it turned out. I'm happy with it. All you guys are here to see it too. I'm going to send this over to Rebekah and see if I can convince her to make some prints of this or something. It looks fantastic to me, if I may say so myself. So we need a whole video about CMYK. Search my channel. it's there. I did a thorough discussion of those gamuts. Anyway, before I wrap it up, I also like to ask if there's any questions or if there's anything about this that you are confused about, or is there something you're like, man, I missed that. I wish I knew how you did that part. Is there anybody here with any more questions before I shut this down today? I don't like when I watch streams. I hate to be that guy that's always like, man, I wish he would have just answered the thing about so and so. You know, so I didn't read all the whole chat today like I normally do. I think that's why I had more people watching, is I wasn't stopping to ramble every 10 minutes. But yeah, this is really a fun one. Oh, going once. I must have done a really good job. Everybody's an expert now. All right. I don't see any questions. Or the delay on this is more than I thought it was. You'll have 100 after I sign off. Yeah, that's usually how it works. That is usually how it works. What is her skin tone even on this? It's like, yeah, she's just super gray. Yeah, and then that, even the stuff that looks quote unquote warm is like barely warm. I don't think there's anywhere else on this. I guess maybe we could do a little bit of that light there. I'm gonna, while you guys are waiting, and come up with other things to do here. I better stop. All right, guys. Thanks again. Thank you. I will see y'all next week, if not sooner. Same time. Take care.